wouldn't it be hilarious if Greta Thunberg won a Nobel Prize for this? Like all of her work for like climate activism, but her just dunking on this guy because he taunted her on Twitter.
No. Welcome back to Free Cereal. Happy 2023.
Yes, happy 2017. This is going to be my year.
Happy. Kevin's running on Internet Explorer, in case you couldn't tell. Welcome back to the show. I hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful New Year's Eve. Kevin, can you tell us what you did on yours?
Watch High School Musical like you should.
Like
every
a
New
fucking
Year's
psychopath.
Eve.
Like an actual psychopath. He does this every year, by the way. He's been doing it for like, what, 5 years now?
I've only been doing it for like, I don't know, I think like maybe three or four.
This
I don't
is the
know.
third year?
But
Okay.
either way, High School Musical is the definitive New Year's Eve movie. So that is how you should be spending every New Year's Eve.
I disagree. I think we're going to go with New Year's Evil, as I learned about through Dead Meat on YouTube. I think that one is a much more fitting movie. It's literally
Maybe
in the name.
it might be more fitting, but is it more iconic though?
Kevin, the movie doesn't even take place on New Year's Eve for a
yes,
majority.
It does. It does take place on New Year's Eve.
For the opening scene, and then it switches to literally the rest of the school year.
Yeah, and that's what New Year's Eve is about. It is about starting something new.
I hate you. Okay, anyway, I need to do my mug of the day. I ran out of mugs and had to switch to a fishbowl. Just kidding, it's Madame Leota.
Oh, what? Oh my god, wait, that's so trippy.
It's cool, right? It's like,
so wait, is it like it's like a mug in a bowl? Like
it's like the little, like her head contains the liquid, and then that head is suspended inside of a 3D bowl to look like a crystal ball.
Okay, that's tricky. That's like
I thought it was
very
really
trippy.
Cool.
I actually have a mug of the week this week too. It's Jack Skellington. Because
did you just get that?
No, actually, this isn't even mine. This is my sister's. This is Allison's. Because like, okay, because right now, because you probably noticed that for those on the visual, you probably noticed that
I'm being held captive.
I'm in a different location than I usually am. That is because I'm in my family's vacation home in Florida right now. And so a lot of the stuff here is my sister and her husband's stuff, because they're like kind of using this to like move here, like not here, but like in the area.
This is like a halfway step before they're
basically,
okay.
Yeah, pretty much, for lack of a better term. What did you do on New Year's Eve?
I actually spent it with another member of I almost said the Broadway Podcast Network. With another member of the Empty the Witch Podcast Network. I spent it with Brielle of 5 More Minutes Mom.
Oh, did you? You guys?
I did. I went over to her family's home. We had some fun. We played a really fun game called Super Fight, which it was an absolute blast. But then we watched the ball drop. I went home, and it was a really good day. It was probably the best New Year's I've had in quite some time. So it was a nice, refreshing change.
All right. Okay.
However, driving home on New Year's Eve was a testament to my hubris, because I was terrified for the entire like hour ride it took me to get home. I was so scared that I was going to be like slammed into by a drunk driver. Thankfully, that did not happen.
So yeah, I guess it was probably a good idea. I decided not to go out last night.
I mean, you're in Florida. That's like ground zero for drunk driving.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you know what? I'm glad. I was because I was gonna do something, but I was like, I don't know.
I also forgot. I have a very like brief new segment. I got this as a gift from a Secret Santa. It's a calendar of like every day is a new holiday. Like, you know how like some holidays have like random stuff tied to them. On the day
like National Hot Dog Day, National.
Yes, like obviously we're recording this on January 1st, but the day this episode goes up, January 2nd, Kevin, happy Science Fiction Day.
Oh, okay.
Alien baby.
It's the Walt Disney Company's least favorite holiday, unless it's Star Wars.
I mean, yes. Also, we're here to say thank you, Mary Shelley, for literally inventing science fiction and getting none of the credit because you're a woman.
Damn, yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, she's starting to get credit now.
Because she's a badass. Come on. Anyway.
Yeah, because now people are finding out about her thanks to the internet. People are like, oh, the
I feel like
person
people
who wrote
always knew about her,
Frankenstein is
but
a woman who was like
named
really weird
Mary.
and badass.
That woman, I could go on and on about the weird shit Mary
didn't
Shelley
she like
did.
lose her virginity on her mother's grave or something?
Yeah, like this would be a perfect topic for the middle of October, but New Year's Day feels a little dissonant. But
It is.
I could
No, you know what? No. Spooky is forever, Connor. Spooky is forever.
Absolutely. Kevin, do you have some news to share with us?
I do. I do have some news on my segment. Sounds gay. I'm in.
Fantastic. Kevin, if you don't have like the space that's like gonna absorb the noise, you sound like you're performing at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, it's true. This house is very this house
you need
is very
to put
echoey.
some like furniture in there to like absorb.
I know. I suggested sound panels, but my family's like, no, we don't need those.
Yeah, no, I don't think
you
so.
stupid homosexual.
Okay, let's continue.
Okay, so first bit of news is Yasmin Finney encounters an alien in new Doctor Who teaser.
Oh, okay.
So Yasmin Finney is going from Heartstopper to hanging out with a Time Lord. Earlier this year, the BBC announced the rising superstar actress, who is trans, will be playing the character of Rose in 2023's 60th anniversary celebration of Doctor Who. And we've finally gotten our first peek of her in action in the show's latest teaser trailer. In the action-packed preview, we see David Tennant's Doctor stepping back inside the TARDIS, as well as his companion, Donna Noble, once again played by Catherine Tate.
Yes.
Finney's Rose is carrying a box into a house and meets Beep the Meep, a cute alien creature who warns her that the insectoid intergalactic visitors spreading terror are monsters. She's joining some other faves, including Nkuti Gatwa, who is taking on the role of the Doctor himself, and Neil Patrick Harris assuming the role of a mischievous villain. We've got a while before the special drops in November 2023, but the epic cast and these juicy teasers are definitely have us excited for what's in store.
Why is Neil Patrick Harris there? Here's the thing. I love
he's everywhere, Connor. You know the answer. Don't ask questions that you already know the answer to. That's a rhetorical question.
In my mind, Doctor Who has always cast exclusively like British and European actors. So then here comes Neil Patrick Harris and being like, I want a part. And they're like, sure.
What about John Barrowman?
John Barrowman? I thought he was a UK citizen.
No, I'm pretty sure he's American.
Is he? Oh, here's the thing. We have recently, I don't know, Kevin, have you heard that we recently canceled John Barrowman?
Oh, did we? Why?
Oh, Kevin, oh my God, there's allegations against him claiming that he would expose himself to coworkers on the set of Doctor Who. Yeah, like without their consent. It's not fun. Here's the thing. He's a very handsome man. I give consent to receive what he wants to show off, but his coworkers are like, that was not appropriate, and I'm not okay with it. So now they're like being like, yeah, he's not pleasant to work with. So we need an apology instantly. But anyway, happy thoughts. New Year's Eve.
Okay. All right. Well, the next story is not really so happy. Fashion designer and icon Vivienne Westwood has died at the age of 81.
I did see this, like on the same day as Barbara Walters, right?
Yes, in the same
day as the old Pope. Like this was a popular day to die if you're a celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, but like 2023 was like, oh shit, I gotta reach this quota of celebrities dying. Okay, yep, this. Okay, but in a statement on Twitter, her fashion house has said that she died peacefully and surrounded by her family in Champlain, South London. Westwood rose to become fashion royalty back in the 1970s when her anti-establishment aesthetic saw her dressing high-profile names, the Sex Pistols, and later on the likes of Dita Von Teese and Madonna. Beyond that, Westwood's name has since become synonymous with creativity and punkdom, making her one of the world's most famous fashion designers. Thank you, Vivienne, for your incredible vision.
Absolutely. That one actually really That was probably the most upsetting name to her here. Like Barbara Walters, I could take or leave. Like she's a hilarious person, but I like hated watching her interviews. The
Oh my
Pope,
God,
we
like
don't fucking stand.
Wait, have you seen her interview with Celine Dion?
Which one?
The one where she was like, kids, she was not beautiful when she was young. Kids pointed at her pointy teeth and called her the vampire.
I don't think I saw that one. Oh.
So Celine, you were ugly as a child. Tell us about that.
I don't think I remember that. That was I remember seeing. Did you see the one where she's interviewing Mariah Carey and she's talking about?
I'm quick to check a bitch that is out of line.
Are you the bitch that she is singing about? I didn't know she sang. I thought she rapped or whatever. Two, like when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, you got Mariah and Barbara.
Mariah, Barbara, and Nikki.
She wasn't in the room though.
Right, but she was there in spirit though.
Barely. But yeah, no, we're talking about Vivienne.
Yes.
Yeah, this was like an absolutely iconic fashion designer. Like she's the reason the Sex Pistols looked like they did. So, I mean, you know, people love to be like, "Oh my god, I love the celebrities," like the people behind them, like the people responsible for like how people perceive them, like the fashion and stuff like that. So important. So, you know, I love her. I stand her. I'm gonna miss her. So that's all I gotta say. I can't form. My brain is like so full of what I got coming, so I'm not processing stuff correctly.
Oh, we got something fun coming, huh?
We got something good, Kevin.
Ooh, all right.
Which means wrap it up. I gotta get started.
Okay, well, I'm not exactly gonna wrap. Okay, all right. Let me just get to the next story. Wednesday creators say they're open to exploring a Clair romance in future seasons.
Okay. What is Clair?
Clair is the ship of Wednesday and
her roommate.
And Enid. In the I'm not sure why it's called Clair. I guess because her last name is Sinclair. Her last name, I think, is Sinclair.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd be Weenid, and that's disgusting.
Weenid! Wait, I like that name. Weenid!
Ew, no. Weenid. Or Eansday.
Okay, the creators of Netflix's Wednesday have opened up about a potential Wednesday and Enid romance in future seasons. Since its debut, LGBTQ viewers have shipped Jenna Ortega's character with her optimistic werewolf roommate, Enid Sinclair, played by Emma Myers. Now, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Wednesday creators Al Gough and Miles Miller gave further insight into Wednesday and Enid's beloved dynamic and the future of their relationship. We're not going to discount anything, and obviously sometimes characters reveal themselves, which is the fun thing we love about television, that it's an organic journey, said Miller. While the two creators refrained from confirming a future Clair romance, they did admit that they are open to anything.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so cool. Like, we're probably not gonna see them be together. But then again, I thought the same thing about them kids in that Jurassic Park cartoon. So I don't know.
True. I only just watched the first episode of Wednesday literally yesterday, so I'm getting into it. It's great. I'm absolutely super into it, but it's like I know I got a lot to go on. This is going to be like Sabrina was for me. Like it's going to control my life for a couple of. It's going to control my life for quite some time. So I'm prepared to go whole hog.
You're prepared for the chokehold. Okay, so this last story I want to cover is not really gay per se. So I asked our producer Pod Daddy Nick to make me a new banner that says "Sounds sort of gay, I guess." Yeah. So this is kind of like a mini segment. Sounds sort of gay, I guess.
You know what you should have called it?
What?
Artificial fruit flavoring.
Oh, darn.
Sorry, I came up with that on the
fruit
spot.
Flavoring. Oh, man, that's good. But whatever, we're going to call it that for now. We're going to call it as it's known for now. Maybe next week. Maybe next week if I have a sort of gay story. Okay. So this sort of gay story...
The banner instantly. Oh, I love you, Pod Daddy.
Oh, instantly. like,
I love how we didn't like brainstorm. They're just like, Connor got it. Go. Let's go. Come on.
Okay, so this story is only vaguely relevant to the LGBT community because it has to deal with somebody who is homophobic. That's
It pertains to us, though.
So, like, it's really loose. Pretty much my story is about how Andrew Tate has been arrested.
Let's open this can, Kevin. Oh my God. Okay, let's start at the beginning. You start the story.
Okay, so, well, first, let me just clarify. So let's just clarify what actually happened. Andrew Tate, the influencer known for radicalizing millions of young men and boys into extreme misogyny and homophobia, has been arrested in Romania along with his brother Tristan. Police raided their luxury villa in connections with human trafficking charges. So this is actually a pretty serious.
He's not just rude, he's a monster.
Like, yeah, this is a pretty serious thing that's happening. But the way we got here is insane.
Nuts.
It's just wild. So in case, chances are anybody listening to this probably knows the story of what happened. But just in case you don't, this week, the 36-year-old misogynist Andrew Tate instigated a Twitter feud with 19-year-old climate activist Greta Thunberg. Greta's reply became one of the most well-liked tweets of all time. So he tweeted at her about how he has 33 cars, and he said to give her her email address so he could set a complete list of his car collection and the respective enormous emissions. That's what he said. And Greta replied, "Yes, please do enlighten me. Email me at smalldickenergy@getalife.com."
I have a quick question. This is like, I overthink stuff because I'm me. Is she claiming that this is her email address? Because the joke doesn't really work in that sense.
No, she's not. Like, she's just telling him that he has small dick energy and to get
absolutely.
A life. But that's what the joke is. And then he initially replied to it just by saying, "How dare you?" Like I was like, he's clutching his pearl. Now here's the thing. I've thought about it. Maybe he was mocking her speech when she said, to the UN. Maybe, but then again, he's obviously not that smart, so I don't think that's the case.
No.
I think he genuinely was like offended and saying, "How dare you?" Okay, now that's wild enough. What happened there? That's wild enough. That's enough of a funny story. Although I will say, personally, in my opinion, I don't think that this was as sick of a burn as the internet makes it out to be. Like, saying, like, making fun of a guy for having a small dick. It's like, that's kind of basic. It's I mean, it's kind of basic, but like, whatever. Like,
Trixie Mattel, she is not. She's not here to read.
Yeah. The library has not been open.
Oh God.
But whatever. But regardless, it gets wilder. So apparently, he could not let Greta have the last laugh. So, okay, wait. So let me read this let me read this actual article that says what happened. Okay, because they're probably going to describe it better than I did. So Andrew Tate then posted a 2-minute video response mocking Thunberg. In the video, Tate is shown eating pizza from a Romanian pizza chain. And I just want to add that the reason he's eating pizza is because he's bragging about not recycling the boxes.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid.
It's like him trying to come for her in such a minute way because he doesn't have anything. I was just like, oh yeah, well, I'm not recycling my boxes, so fuck everything you stand for. And it's very stupid, childish, but it's what we expect from this bitch.
Okay. And the internet also completely dunked on this video too, because it was very cringeworthy. It's really, dude, get a life. It's clear it was reading as very pathetic.
Right.
But then Romanian police they have been monitoring Tate's social media to try to catch the brothers together in Romania. And users are speculating that the pizza box revealed his location to the authorities.
I just love that I can go. My family's actually getting pizza for dinner tonight, and I have no risk of getting arrested.
I
That's
know,
my
it's
flex
like
of the week. Oh God,
this
I'm
is
so happy. I'm so
I
happy.
I know, it's like truly. So Romanian authorities needed proof that he was in the country, and they and because the pizza box featured the logo of Jerry's Pizza, which was a Romanian pizza chain, it confirmed he was in the country. And that's when they raided his. Oh my god, this is so wild. Like, imagine if imagine. No, here's the thing. I don't think that Tate is like the top. Like, they call him, his fans love to call him top G, but like, I don't actually think that he's the top of this human trafficking thing. I think that he's like a smaller, like, pawn in it.
Yeah, like it's like Andrew Tate is to this human trafficking organization as like Maleficent was to like Xehanort, or like no, who was like manipulating
Don't you
Maleficent?
dare compare Andrew Tate to Maleficent. How dare
No,
you?
no, you know how I know like there's like that chain of puppetry and like the
Yeah, no, I do think
organization
so because
13.
like he's so stupid. Like,
Yeah, but that's the
here's the
thing.
thing.
Like he thinks that he's like this big
I
like
actually was one of the first people to like actually find out about how awful he is, and I found out
Hmm.
about him through Danny Gonzalez's video that he made on him, and I did
Okay.
a little research, and I'm like, and I made a TikTok basically being like, guys, look out for this guy. He's a human trafficker. Like, or he might be. Like, he's really making himself look like one. Because here's the thing, he like practically was kept telling on himself that he's like trafficking women.
Yeah.
Like, he's so stupid.
It reminds me of that phrase. I wish I had the confidence of a mediocre white man, and he's
Truly,
is.
it's
Ay. But thank God, he has been arrested. The
yes.
operation, like, I don't think has been shut down, but it's in the process of like,
No, and wouldn't it be hilarious if Greta Thunberg won a Nobel Prize for this? Like, all of her work for like climate activism, but her just dunking on this guy because he taunted her on Twitter.
that's the thing. I
That's
think
what brings the whole thing down.
here's the thing. She might be eligible for the prize. I don't think she would win because of this. She's been like, for contributions to like, the safety of humanity, for telling a man he has small dick energy, we award you with the Nobel Prize.
Oh
Oh
my god.
no. Oh God. But thank
Yeah.
you, Greta, for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you for accidentally getting a human trafficker arrested.
Oh Jesus. Okay. But
And
thank
oh
you.
yeah, and then she tweeted afterwards, this is what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes.
Yes. Oh my God. The fact that she's not only like a decent person, but she's funny too. Oh God. We stand. We have
Oh
to.
yeah, it's truly. And it's really ironic because like he's also another level of irony in this is that he's like he's a Republican pundit, like, and they love being all like, oh, these gays are grooming our kids. I mean, like, or they're part of like a sex trafficking ring, and it like here's one of their own straight up doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, but like I've seen his defenders try to be like, well, what about Epstein? What about? It's like, do you think that like has it not occurred to you that maybe that they're connected? Like,
Even if they're not, it's like, okay, so now we have two human traffickers. How is one worse than the other or better? Like,
yeah, it's
not, like, let's get rid of both of them.
And how do you know that they're not connected? I mean, like,
Yeah.
we know that Epstein's clients are like, wealthy elites, and Tate is constantly bragging about how rich he is.
Did you see that the disgraced Prince Andrew has now been officially banned from Buckingham Palace?
I didn't see that. No.
With connections to the Epstein thing? Oh my God. Well, he was obviously a disgrace. The family disowned him, but now they've been like, you are like banned from Buckingham Palace. If you show up, you'll be arrested. You can't use the palace as like a corresponding address. So he can't get his Amazon packages shipped there anymore. And I was just like, oh, yay. More people getting what they have earned.
On death's door anyway?
I think he's about to, but still, fuck him.
How has that dude not died yet?
I don't know. I mean, anyway, do we have any more stories?
No, but I do have one more thing to say about this, and that's like he has like I have seen like his his fans and followers be like, defend him by like saying like, thinking that this is all a setup, that he's being like set up, and that he's trying to be silenced or whatever. And
Right.
it's like, okay, like, even if he is innocent in all of this, like, he got like, this all happened because he taunted a 19-year-old on Twitter and just couldn't handle getting owned by her.
Yeah, it's
Like, even if he's
fragility at its
innocent, he's
finest.
still an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
like people are like, we knew that this would happen. He constantly said that the government would try to arrest him and shut him down. Well, gee, maybe he should have been a little more careful. You ever thought about that?
Yeah. It's God. I love it when somebody's hubris catches up with them. That's really
Truly.
actually
Okay, anyway, I'm done now. Now I'm done.
fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. That was a wild ride.
It was. Oh, yeah, and this was all because Elon put him back on Twitter, too. So
Yeah, and he was
I
on
guess
Twitter for like,
thank you, Elon Musk.
don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay,
No.
I won't.
Don't put that energy out into the world. All right. Kevin.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I don't want to just like jump into my hyperfixation of the week because that's like I need time to get into it, but I also was like, I don't want like I have other stuff I want to talk about, but at the same time, I'm just like,
okay, well, we're only at the 26
Kevin,
minute.
I need that amount of time. Like this is a doozy.
Oh, okay, well, let's not waste any.
All right, so let's just get right into it. Welcome to my first hyperfixation of the week of 2023. Kevin, how many times have I mentioned Broadway musicals on this channel, on this show?
A lot.
It's like, yeah. Okay, so, Kevin, very brief. I should have asked you this before the show began. Are you familiar with the story of Rebecca? It was a movie that just came out on Netflix like a year ago with Lily James and unfortunately Armie Hammer. But do you know the story? Yeah.
I think I am familiar with the film Rebecca. It's a remake, right, of an old film.
Yeah, it was originally an Alfred Hitchcock film developed from a story by Daphne du Maurier, who also wrote The Birds, oddly enough. Super brief summary of the story. It involves this woman who she has no name. She literally has no name. She falls in love with this older gentleman. They have a whirlwind romance, and he says, I'm going to bring you back to my home, my fabulous manor estate by the name of Mandalay. So they go back to his house, and she's like this little like country girl. She doesn't like live in mansions with servants and stuff. She meets the house staff and what. Some of them are nice, but then there's like the head housekeeper of Mrs. Danvers, who's a bitch on wheels and is making it very clear, I do not like you. You are the new Mrs. De Winter, and you'll never compare to my old mistress, Rebecca. Rebecca is Maxim's late wife who died maybe less than a year ago. And Mrs. Danvers was like literally in love with her. So then like through a series of many events, it's discovered that Rebecca died and that like her ghost is still haunting the house. It's a fabulous story. Absolutely 100% recommend it. I also really, really like the version with Lily James, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Okay, Kevin, what would you say if I told you somebody turned Rebecca into a musical?
I'd be like, okay, sure.
Yeah, right?
Why not? I mean,
musicalized fucking
Carrie
everything else.
can be a musical. Why not?
Absolutely. Kevin, do you think that we could put this show on Broadway, you think?
Maybe. Why not?
Okay. Let's dive in. Okay. I want to start off by saying I learned about this story through the very talented people over at the Broadway Podcast Network through a show called Burnt, where we learned the story of the ill-fated Rebecca the musical that was supposed to come to Broadway in 2012, in the autumn of 2012. But there were some hiccups along the way. Okay, Kevin, let's begin. There's this man by the name of Ben Sprecher, who is a Broadway, like he's new to the world of Broadway. He's produced a couple shows, but he gets the rights to do an English language translation of Rebecca the musical, which previously only premiered over in like Vienna and Korea. This would be like a landmark thing for him to get Rebecca on Broadway doing an English version. It's like a big thing, like a big deal. Ben Sprecher obtains the rights to the show, but we need some money to put the show on, right? You don't just like get everything magically. You need to get the money together. Ben
Mhm.
Sprecher has a collaborator by the name of Bippity Boppity Boo. What's her name? Oh God, there's so many players in this like farce that I got to go through. Where is his collaborator? Anyway, they need to get some money together. They have about 5.5 million from several investors, but they need another like 5 million just to like really make sure that everybody can get paid for the work they're doing. So Ben Sprecher calls upon this man by the name of Mark Houghton. Mark Houghton is an investment broker. He's the guy that you go to with your money troubles. He tells you where you can go to obtain the money you need. Mark Houghton flies into the room and he's got like, his $4 million Rolex watch on. He's smooth as fuck, whatever. He says, hey, I have some investor friends over in the United Kingdom. They could give you the money. Ben Sprecher is like freaking, he's like, yes, thank you. So they get in contact, or Mark Houghton gets in contact with these four investors, comes back to Ben and says, great news, they're ready to give over the money. You can start casting for the show, start building the sets. Like, let's get the show on the road, literally. 4 backers were involved, but they're all unknown names. Nobody's heard of these investors before. And they're just like, I thought you'd get some like big names to give us money. It's like, oh, no, they're like private. They're private. They don't want to like have their name attached to it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Why would you worry about it, right? So after the confirming of the opening date in November of 2012, the first 6 weeks of performances are already like generating pre-sale. Like people are like so fucking excited for the show. They've generated over roughly $1 million in advance sales for the tickets. Keep in mind, the sets have been built. The actors have been cast and ready to go into rehearsal. The marquees are up on the show, on like the theater, saying opening November 2012, Rebecca the Musical. Very exciting. We're in full swing. The cast have signed on year-long contracts guaranteeing them this job. Some of these actors have turned down other shows to be involved in Rebecca, right? This is a big deal. At this point, 3 months have passed since Mark Houghton's private investor agreed to supply the money. This private investor by the name, we learn his name is Paul Abrams. Okay, Paul Abrams is forking over, I believe, 2.5 million, along with his other team who are doing another 2.5. And Ben Sprecher says, hey, we need this money. We're like, 3 weeks until rehearsals. Where's the money? Mark Houghton says, I'm going to go contact Abrams about this. I'm going to go over, I'll have a private safari with him. Like he loves to, he is a South African businessman, this Mark Abrams person.
Okay.
He says, we're going to go on a safari and we'll talk turkey. I'll get you the money. Don't worry. We'll have it next week. So finally he comes back from South Africa. He says, everything's great. He's going to transfer the money in a little bit. Shortly after this, Abrams' assistant sends an email to Mark Houghton and Ben Sprecher saying, hey, I'm very sorry. Mr. Abrams has contracted malaria on that safari you went on, and he is now in the ICU fighting for his life. I'll follow. I'll update you with more details as it comes to light. Kevin, that's bad. Mr. Abrams is in the hospital. What are we going to do? Oh my God, Kevin.
I don't know.
All we can really do is hope. Let's keep the show going. Let's get the sets up on the stage. Let's start work on the show. Finally, we get another email from this same assistant by the name of Jessica, by the way. She doesn't have a last name. She's just Jessica, assistant to Mr. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very sorry. This is turned dire. Mr. Abrams has passed away. And Mr. Houghton, you are requested to be at the funeral by his family. Kevin, he's dead now. What do we do? Where's the money? Wait a minute. This is like a business deal, right? Shouldn't he have a contract stating that, like, even in the event of my death, the money goes to you?
I guess.
What a weird thing. They never made an agreement like that. So now the money's just gone. What are we going to do? I'm panicked. I can't get the show running. I got actors to pay. What am I going to do? And on top of that, his other 3 investors are also just dust in the wind. They're not responding to any of the emails that Ben Sprecher is sending out. What the fuck do we do? Now, Mark Houghton attempts to save the deal by communicating with Abrams' executor of estate. A couple of emails between him and this other character who only refers to himself as Mr. Wexler. Mr. Wexler? Yeah. Hi, I'm Mr. Wexler. I'm the executor of the estate. I'm going to try and like fiddle around and try and get you the money that Mr. Abrams verbally agreed to give you. Weird thing about Mr. Wexler, his email was only created 1 month prior to Mr. Abrams' death. Don't you think if he's the executor of the state, he'd have like an email he's been using for a couple of years, right? Anyway, after Abrams is pronounced dead, Sprecher calls his lawyer and says, can you sue the other 3 investors who agreed to give us that money because, like, they promised to give us the money and now they're just not doing it? Can you sue them for me? Now, the publicist for the show, a man by the name of Mark Thibodeau, this is another Mark, he sends out a tweet saying it's actually still on the official Rebecca the Musical Twitter, which I retweeted recently before coming to record Fruity Cereal. Important info. Due to the tragic death of one of our investors, rehearsals have been delayed. Now, this Mark Thibodeau, he's like a very popular investor. Like Cameron McIntosh prefers him to like, you know, get like talk going about like projects they're doing, whatever.
Okay.
And he's like a big name. He's been involved in the business. He senses that something's up. He's like, this show's had a lot of money problems and like, you know, a lot of money's pretending to change hands, but it's not. So he's like, he's observing from the sidelines. You know, he's like, I'll be back. I'll be here soon.
A lot of ums.
Yeah, a lot of ums. Okay, now we're in, again, 2 weeks until performances go. People are asking Sprecher, where's the fucking money? Where is the money, dude? Sprecher falsely claims to have flown to London to talk to Abrams' estate himself just to keep the press talking. Because now there's articles on the front page of the New York Post saying, like, investors for Rebecca are disappearing as if they were dreamt up. Where the fuck are they going?
So do you
know how big your story has to be on the front page? Okay. Anyway, and that article was written by Mark Thibodeau, the story's publicist, being like, hey, the show's having a lot of money problems. Kevin, a new challenger approaches. A man by the name of Lawrence Runsdorf reaches out. Now, this man is like literally not involved in the story at all. He's what they call an angel investor. He shows up and says, hey, I see you're having horrific money problems. I would like to see the show go up on Broadway. I will give you $2.25 million to at least partially cover the $5 million that you need. So if you want it, I'll supply it. On 3 conditions will I give you this money. You have to agree to these 3 conditions. Number 1, I need to have my attorneys review the documentation, which of course, that's just good business. Condition 2, I need to negotiate a co-producer credit to ensure that I'm some way going to be coming off with a profit from this. And number 3, my identity must remain anonymous because I am giving you $2.25 million. If other Broadway people find out who I am, they're going to be like, oh, he's just giving out $2 million. What if I go over and ask him? And he doesn't want to be swamped with shit like that. So he says, if my identity is revealed, I will withdraw my funding. And that's like completely fair, I think. Anyway, the remaining funds, we now have that $2.25 million. We need another 2.75, which is going to be covered from a bridge loan that Sprecher, his collaborator, and Houghton all sign on using their own houses as collateral. That's how much they believe in this show, that they're putting their fucking houses up as collateral to get this fucking loan, okay? Now, Kevin, September 26, 2012, the FBI arrives at Sprecher's office demanding any and all paperwork relating to Paul Abrams. We're in official FBI investigation territory, okay? Shit has gotten real. It's been real, but now it's gotten real. 2 days later, Runsdorf, the angel investor, finally transfers his $2.25 million to Sprecher, who shortly after receives another email from Runsdorf's attorney. Apparently, Runsdorf and his legal team have all received anonymous emails from like unknown sources. Kevin, I have the emails. Okay.
You have the emails?
I have her emails. This is an unknown woman named Sarah Finkelstein has sent out this email to Runsdorf and his legal team saying, quote, the walls are about to cave in on Mr. Sprecher and the Rebecca Broadway production. It is a near certainty that the man Paul Abrams was made up several months ago to defraud other investors as a placeholder to give them a sense of security, as well as the owners of the theater, while Mr. Sprecher continued to try and raise money. When that money wasn't raised by August, Mr. Sprecher or someone associated with him came up with the story that Paul Abrams had died. Mr. Sprecher hasn't been able to come up with any information to prove that Paul Abrams was a real person. The only reason to invest in Rebecca would be for a tax write-off or to get caught up in a federal trial, end quote. Now, we've gotten this email. Runsdorf is like, he's reading this. He's like, I don't really care so much about what the content of the email is. I care that people know who I am investing in the show. And one of my conditions was my anonymity. And now someone knows who I am and knows how to get in contact with me. I'm withdrawing my 2.25 million. You are fucked. Kevin, rehearsals are set to begin in 3 days. 3 days. And now we're up the creek again. Now, Kevin, do you remember Mark Houghton, the investment broker who said, I've got these investors? He comes back into the picture. Sprecher and the investigator for the criminal investigations have a meeting with him at, oddly enough, the Olympic Diner in Deer Park, which I could literally drive to right now. Like, it's right down the road for me. Yeah. They have this meeting with him where he goes whole hog into proving that Abrams existed, including showing him photos of them together on Safari, pulling up the emails and like communications that they had, right?
Well,
Sprecher
that doesn't really prove anything.
It doesn't prove anything.
Anybody could fake an email.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, we all saw Dear Evan Hansen. We know how it works.
Exactly. Sprecher then goes with the investigator to a scheduled meeting with the district attorney's office where they are promptly told by the prosecutor that they have just committed a crime by having a meeting with Houghton. Houghton was their witness. Turns out that Houghton was not an investment broker. He was a rather proficient and well-known scam artist who had conducted several multi-million-dollar frauds in the past and was being held accountable for this new one with Rebecca. The addresses for those 4 initial investors, like Paul Abrams and his team, the addresses lead to a bunch of abandoned buildings, and one of them even leads to a fucking park bench. Kevin, he made these people up and said that they're going to give it this money. And all this time when he's saying that, like, oh yeah, they're going to give, by the way, can I have like a couple $1,000s? I want to take Mr. Abrams on a safari. Kevin. Oh God. Anyway, on September 30th, Sprecher now tells the creative team that Rebecca is officially dead in the water. No pun intended with the show. The cast is still guaranteed at least 1 day of work so that they can get paid because, again, these are real people who turned down other job opportunities thinking that they had a sure thing with this show. And now they're being told, hey, your contract's null and void because we can't put the show up. So they have to work for at least 1 day. They get their money. Now it keeps going. Kevin, you remember those anonymous emails saying, like, why are you investing in Rebecca? It's a fraud. Who sent those emails? Like, who's this, like, mysterious Jane Doe? Okay.
I don't know. Who?
Okay.
Was it Houghton himself? Was he trying to like lead people off? Was he?
Here we go.
Okay, wait. So this Abrams guy, he was made up, right?
He was 100% made up. Never existed.
Wait, but he said he had photos though.
He made them up. Oh, here's the best part. When he said, I have a photo of me with Abrams' nephew. That photo of Abrams' nephew was his own wife. So he dragged her into this bullshit. Yeah, the FBI
literally... He took his wife and dressed her like in drag? Dressed her up like a boy?
Wife and he took a photo of him and his wife and claimed that this was Abrams' niece. I didn't get any photos with him, but here's a photo of me with his niece.
Right? Oh, okay. So it was a niece. Okay, no.
Yeah, and I think he had like one photo of like a random person on the safari that literally never met before, but that's another story. Never mind. Anyway, Sprecher sued Houghton for the money that he scammed him out of, obviously. He was taken out of his home with his wife in handcuffs and then put in jail. They then subpoenaed Google to obtain the IP addresses of where those emails originated, and it was discovered that there were 2 email accounts, but both came from the same place. Both email accounts were created by Mark Thibodeau, the show's own publicist. The man that was making those articles saying, man, this show's having a hard time with money. I wonder what's going on there. Hey, guys, we don't know what's going to happen with the money. This man took it upon himself to like contact the new like producer who he knew the angel investor was with that Runsford guy. He more or less sabotaged the show at the last minute because if he didn't do this, there's a chance that Rebecca would be running on Broadway today. This was like him being like, I don't want this guy to suffer and lose his shirt. I'm going to email him in private or anonymously and get him to pull his funding. Oh God, Kevin. The show is officially...
Wait. So this guy was going to be the producer of the show, but then he stepped down and then he's sabotaging the show.
No, this guy was the publicist. He was the one responsible for generating like, buzz about the show, getting like...
Okay, he was the publicist.
Yes.
So wait, why did he send the anonymous emails again?
Because he was acting out of like a kind heart where he's like, hey, this show has like tons of money problems. There's like fake investors lined up before you. I don't want to see you lose your shirt too and like suffer. So he like told him in these anonymous emails of his own volition. breaching several contracts, which he eventually did get sued for, and I believe settled out of court with Ben Sprecher. But yeah, he just decided, I want to be nice. If I see something, say something, sort of thing.
Okay, but if he had kept his mouth shut the whole
The show
time,
could have potentially run. The show
This
could
show
have
could have
mounted
run.
and made profits, and this all would have come full circle. But anyway, the show has officially been canceled. Sprecher is now on the hook to pay back the actual Flesh and Blood investors the $5.5 million that they already invested. But that money's already been spent. We spent the money on the actors. The sets are built. The marquees are up on the theater. That money is gone. So Sprecher's like scrambling, trying to get like, other partners to like fork up the money. These people did not get their money back. They did not get any money back because, again, gone. While also being investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office, the SEC, and the FBI, it was quickly realized that Sprecher was not the perpetrator of this elaborate scam, but rather a victim and a pawn used by conman Mark Houghton. In 2016, Mark Houghton would be sentenced to more than 11 years in prison for fraud, but served only 3. Kevin, what do you think this mean old guy Mark Houghton is doing nowadays?
Did he go back to his old tricks? Is he scamming people again?
I don't know about that, but what do you think he does on government paperwork?
Oh my God, what?
Kevin, this man is working as a salesman at Volkswagen of West Islip in Long Island.
Oh.
You've probably seen his face in commercials. Kevin, I could drive to West Islip right now, go to this man's desk, and have him sign a poster for Rebecca the Musical. I am right next door to this guy.
But Rebecca the Musical, it doesn't exist.
I know, I could get a poster from Vienna or some shit, but I was just like, holy shit, I could meet this guy who like.
Well, I mean, it's not. Well, you're saying that's pretty crazy, but it's not as crazy, as you, because you do live on Long Island, which is very close to New York City, which is obviously where this show would have debuted.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody involved in the show has to have some sort of easy way to get to the city. But I was just like, wow, I could actually go to this guy. I could go to the diner where he scammed people. It's like I'm in a historical location almost.
Connor,
what?
We should make a movie about this.
Well, here's the thing. Our friends over at the Broadway Podcast Network already did a full multi-part podcast explaining. They got calls from Mark Houghton in jail to talk about his side of the story. And I highly, highly recommend people check this. The title of the podcast is Burnt, and it is phenomenal. I absolutely could not recommend this show.
Burnt, like BURNT?
Yes, correct. It is absolutely nuts. So, yeah.
Okay, but this would make a good movie, though. This should be a movie.
It absolutely should be. I 100% am for it.
There should be more movies about crazy things that happen behind the scenes of things.
That's, Kevin, again, there's so much I could go into. This is just a cursory, top of layer of stuff. They go so much more into it on this show.
Okay, but this all happened 10 years ago, right?
2012, yes.
So why are you bringing it up now?
Because it was just announced that an English language version of Rebecca may be being mounted in London. And I was very excited to see that, but I'm also very suspicious because this show has had a tumultuous history with trying to get an English language production. Back in 2009, they were supposed to do a production of Rebecca in London at, what was it? The Schoenfeld Theater? Not Schoenfeld, the Schubert Theater, I believe. There's a very, toward the finale of the show, there's this elaborate set piece with this giant staircase that's supposed to go up in flames. It's a huge set piece, right? It needs they need to dig out a trap door on the stage for it to sink into. It turns out that they hit a multi-thousand-year-old hidden stream and flooded the basement and the under catacombs of the theater. Where once they unflooded it, apparently they discovered ruins. Ancient Roman ruins underneath this theater, and then they were just you know what, we're not going to do the show anymore.
Wait, where was this again? Where was this in London?
This was in London at the theater where they were originally going to do. They were just, you know what, this is too much. We're just going to pull the show, and then that one's a little less interesting.
So, do you think this next announced English language version of Rebecca is going to have some shit go down too?
Here's the thing: if nothing happens, somebody's going to make something happen because now it's
going to make something happen.
This show has.
One. If I can't find a problem, I'll make one. That's a My Little Pony meme.
That's absolutely. Kevin, the show, This might be my new Carrie. This might be my new Carrie the musical. Like I might get
Rebecca.
Rebecca tattoo, Rebecca over here and Carrie on this one, right? Or scratch that, reverse it. It's just absolutely fucking nuts. And here's the thing: like
this
now
is nuts. This is a nuts story.
I-
I'm not sure if I'd say it's as wild as the production. Well, actually, no. I guess it. You know what? Actually, no. I take that back. It is. It is more insane than the production of Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark.
Spider-Man was plagued with problems and like actors getting injured. This is white collar crime.
No, it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. Do you remember that the one part about where one of the investors literally dropped dead before signing like the contract?
I did not know that part.
Like literally he was about to sign it and he dropped dead. I don't know the exact details, but like it was like when I heard about that, I'm like, what? That's not actually how it happened. But it turns out that is how it happened. Like
that's a little nuts. The fact that that actually happened is like the fact that it was real makes it less unbelievable than all of this fictionalized bullshit that Rebecca went through. But like
but the fact that it was fictionalized. Oh wait, you're talking about Rebecca, the actual like movie, the actual character.
No.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about then?
Like the fact that like this elaborate setup of like creating fake identities and like business addresses and phone numbers for these like imaginary investors, like this man had to do some serious fucking work to create several fake identities.
Obviously, like this is an insane scam. Like
absolutely nuts. And
it's a wild ass grift.
Again, there's so many more details. If you want to hear some like firsthand testimonies from some really amazing people, including Mark Houghton himself, check out Burns on the Broadway Podcast Network. We're not sponsored by them. I should probably mention that. I just really fucking love this show. Okay.
I mean, that is like, because like at first, when you were first telling me the story, I'm like, okay, so one of the investors died. It's like, okay, well, that's nothing. One of the investors in Spider-Man dropped dead as he was about to sign it.
Oh, God.
Okay.
That was like, and then like,
but then it turns out all of this was made up and it was all a scam. And now I'm like, okay, you raised that point. You were like,
and then like, this is just like, jumping off the back of like, scummy producers, like not following through. Obviously Carrie the musical, the producer like saw the bad reviews that the show was getting. He goes into work the next day. He gives this big rah performance to the cast. We're like, we're going to run the show. We're going to do advertising campaigns. We're going to be so successful. He leaves the theater, literally gets on a plane, closes the bank accounts, and is never heard from again. Again, more, oh God. Sometimes the drama behind the scenes is way more interesting than whatever story could be told on that stage.
I know. That's like, oh boy.
But that being said, if this
okay, sorry, Connor, I got to do this. I know we put off this. We've been doing good, putting off talking about this man, but I'm gonna relapse right now and talk about him. It's just like in the "Don't Worry, Darling" drama.
Yes, actually, very similar.
Like, I do not care about watching the actual movie itself. I want to see a documentary about the making of Don't Worry, Darling. I don't actually want to see Don't Worry, Darling itself.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. It's like
the same thing.
What was that documentary they made about the making of The Emperor's New Groove, where it was like terrible? The Sweatbox. That was like...
Is that on Disney Plus?
Disney owns the rights to it because they don't want it getting out. Because it's very disparaging.
Disney actually does have on Disney Plus. They have a documentary about the making of Frozen 2, and like it shows how much of a shit show that was.
Oh, like I mean, there's a difference between being like, oh, it was such a challenge and such a hard thing, but this Sweatbox thing is like we are being met with unfair working conditions. People aren't getting paid, so Disney like obtained the rights to it, and they're like, yeah, we don't want people to see it.
So, is there any way to see this documentary?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I guess Disney's not trying that hard to stop people from seeing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, that was my hyperfixation of the week, Kevin. This entire story had me like that meme of like Always Sunny in Philadelphia with like the board with the strings and the Polaroid.
It sounds like it. Yeah, the Charlie Day meme with like all the strings on the board. Like
it had me
like Pepe Sylvia.
It had me exploding, and I was like, I have to talk about this again. If you want more details, like there's so much more.
Yeah.
But that being said, at some point, I think I want to try and meet Mark Houghton. I'm gonna go to Volkswagen.
Well, you'll live.
I was like, hey, I'm right nearby.
It's a half-hour drive, right? You can go see him.
Minimal gas required. Let's see if it happens.
I mean, I can't. I don't live on Long Island, but
Oh, I know. But next time you come to Long Island, we'll have dinner at the Olympic Diner and recreate this whole thing.
No, we'll ask him to come to dinner with.
Oh God. But yeah, this was Kevin. If this show actually gets mounted in London, I think I might actually just try and fly over there to see this, because this is like, I've heard the music from the show. It's pretty good. I'll see the show, but like, I don't know if it's coming to Broadway. And if it's
just the fact that it exists.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I have to experience the thing that like all this trouble went into.
All of this for what? It's a very convoluted, obviously.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why majority of people went to go see Don't Worry, Darling, because they heard about all the drama behind the scenes about Olivia Wilde, Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, and Shia LaBeouf, and poor Chris Pine getting all caught in the middle of everything.
Oh my God, yes.
Poor Chris Pine just like
getting spat on by Harry Styles.
Which we know he didn't do. We know he didn't actually spit on him. Just to clarify,
I can hear
joke.
Sammy Joe has entered the chat.
Sammy Joe entered the chat.
Oh God. Okay, I just got a very cryptic text from my dad that just says pizza, so I think that's my cue to like go and feed my parents.
That's true, and you know, you know what? I think I agree. I think we should wrap up.
I got so sweaty talking about Rebecca. I took my glasses off, and now I'm like damp.
I know you. This was very much like that meme of that one girl, like, you know, going like this, like to this other girl, like on the couch, like. But I was paying attention. I swear.
I understand.
There was a few things I was kind of like lost on. I was like kind of keeping a hard time keeping track of like who all the characters.
I know it's a lot of players involved, but like to me, it was so worth it. That being said, thank you all for joining us for our first episode of 2023. Yep. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us from Florida. I thought you were going to take the day off.
I know. You know what? It's like what those producers said when they heard that guy died. They're like, the show must go on.
I just realized your light is fading. You're going to be just like completely dark in a second.
Yeah, well, that's because the sun is setting.
I've been talking about this show for so long. It's now another time zone. Okay. If you would like to follow us on Fruity Cereal, you can do so at all social medias at Fruity Cereal. Fruity like the fruit, cereal like the number. Kevin?
You can follow me pretty much everywhere at It's Kevin O'Lear. That's ITSKEVINOLEAR. That's on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitch, and YouTube too.
Indeed.
As well.
And you can follow
me. Just there is one more thing I wanted to plug. I actually uploaded on YouTube a short film that I made a few years ago. So if you guys want to check out my short film that I made on my YouTube it's on my YouTube channel. The film is called Welcome to the Neighborhood.
Very cool. All right. I haven't uploaded anything recently, but if you want to follow me, you can follow me across my social medias. I mostly am active on TikTok at ConnorKFitz92. But if you want some little insights as to what my next hyperfixation of the week would be, follow me on Twitter at ConnorF from LI. This past week, I've been doing nothing but tweeting about Rebecca. So it gives you like a little bit of like hints as to what's coming.
Tweet about how much you hated bros, though.
That we'll have to talk about next week. I got to go feed my parents. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next Monday at 9 a.m.
All right. See y'all.
Goodbye.